The Hollywood Enigma, What Really Happened to the Black Dahlia. It was a cold January morning in 1947 when a woman walking her baby stroller along South Norton Avenue in Los Angeles stopped dead in her tracks. Something shiny in the grass caught her eye. She looked closer and froze. Lying in the empty lot was the naked body of a young woman, cut cleanly in half at the waist. Her skin was so pale, so smooth, that at first the woman thought it was a mannequin. But then she saw the dark, dried blood and screamed. Police cars arrived within minutes. Reporters swarmed. The body had been arranged carefully, almost like a piece of art. The girl's arms were stretched above her head, and her face had been slashed into a haunting, permanent smile. It was brutal. It was strange. It was unlike anything Los Angeles had ever seen. Detectives rushed to the scene, snapping photographs, measuring the distance between the two halves of the body, searching for any clue. But there were no footprints, no blood trail, no tire marks. It was as if someone had placed her there, quietly, carefully, in the middle of the night, and vanished into thin air. By noon, word spread across the city. A young woman had been found dead in a way too horrifying to describe. The Los Angeles Examiner newspaper printed her photo the next morning, and within hours, a call came in. A man's calm voice on the other end said, "You've got that murder story you've been looking for. Her name's Elizabeth Short." The newsroom went silent. The man hung up. Elizabeth Short, soon to be known by the world as the Black Dahlia, was just 22 years old, a dreamer who had come to Hollywood hoping to become famous. Instead, her name would be remembered for one of the most shocking unsolved crimes in American history. The police investigation began with chaos. Reporters broke into her room, taking her letters and photographs before detectives could even seal the scene. They found pictures of her with men in military uniforms, film scripts, and makeup scattered on a small vanity. Elizabeth loved dressing in black and wore her hair in soft curls, which earned her the nickname the Black Dahlia, after a popular movie called The Blue Dahlia. But who killed her? The autopsy report shocked even the most experienced investigators. The cuts were too clean, surgical. The body had been drained of blood. Whoever did it knew what they were doing. Rumors spread fast. Was it a doctor? A jealous lover? A Hollywood insider with secrets to hide? Detectives followed every lead. They questioned more than 150 men. They searched hotels, studios, and dark corners of Los Angeles nightclubs. Everyone wanted to know who could have done something so cruel, but every time they thought they had an answer, the trail went cold. Then, 1 week later, the Los Angeles Examiner received a strange package in the mail. Inside was Elizabeth Short's birth certificate, photographs, and a small address book. Everything was cleaned with gasoline to remove fingerprints. A note read, "Here's Dahlia's belongings. Catch me if you can." The city panicked. The police doubled their patrols. Newspapers printed theories every day, calling it the Hollywood Enigma. People whispered that the killer was sending messages through the headlines. Whoever this person was, they wanted attention. They wanted control, and they were watching. Detectives gathered at the police station, spreading photos and maps across the table. They believed they were close. Then, just as hope began to build, another call came in. The same voice from before, calm and taunting. "I said I'd turn myself in. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe not." The line went dead. And once again, Los Angeles held its breath. The hunt for the Black Dahlia's killer had begun. The next morning, detectives flooded the Los Angeles Police Department. The phones wouldn't stop ringing. Reporters, witnesses, and tipsters all claimed they had seen something. But most of the leads went nowhere. Everyone wanted to be part of the story. Still, one detail stood out: the medical precision of the cuts on Elizabeth Short's body. Only someone with surgical training or knowledge of anatomy could have done that. Police began looking at doctors, surgeons, and even morticians. One name kept coming up: a local doctor who lived near the area where Elizabeth was last seen. His name was Dr. George Hodel. Dr. Hodel was a well-known physician who threw glamorous parties in his Hollywood mansion. Celebrities, musicians, and socialites often attended. But underneath the glamour, rumors swirled. Neighbors said strange things happened in that house. Screams late at night, shadows moving behind curtained windows, and guests who left early, pale and shaken. Detectives decided to watch him. Meanwhile, Elizabeth's story began to unfold piece by piece. Friends described her as kind, soft-spoken, and always chasing dreams. She had moved from Massachusetts to California, hoping to become an actress. She loved Hollywood's bright lights, but fame never came. She worked part-time jobs, lived in cheap hotels, and often relied on friends for help. But she always dressed beautifully. Black dresses, red lipstick, and a calm confidence that drew people to her. Her last days were a mystery. Witnesses said they saw her at the Biltmore Hotel in downtown Los Angeles, waiting for someone. She sat in the lobby, quiet and patient, wearing her signature black outfit. That was the last confirmed time anyone saw her alive. Police believe she left the hotel that night with someone she knew, someone she trusted. As the investigation deepened, the press turned wild. Headlines screamed, "Hollywood horror," and the Black Dahlia mystery deepens. Elizabeth's photo was everywhere, her dark hair, pale skin, and hopeful smile frozen in time. But behind the fame was a family shattered by grief. Her mother, back in Massachusetts, only learned about her daughter's death from a newspaper reporter pretending to offer good news. Then came another shock. A man found a brown paper envelope near a trash can downtown. Inside were more of Elizabeth's personal items: a purse, shoes, and an address book with the name Hodel scribbled inside. Again, everything was wiped clean with gasoline. Police grew more certain that Dr. Hodel was hiding something. They bugged his house, secretly planting microphones in the walls. For weeks, they listened. Late one night, Hodel's voice was caught on tape saying, "Supposing I did kill the Black Dahlia. They couldn't prove it now. They can't talk to my secretary anymore. She's dead." Detectives froze when they heard it. Was this a confession, or was he mocking them? But before they could act, Hodel vanished. He packed up and fled the country with his family, leaving behind a trail of suspicion and unanswered questions. Still, without hard evidence, the police couldn't charge him. The case stalled. The public grew frustrated. The Hollywood dream had turned into a nightmare. Years passed, but the memory of the Black Dahlia never faded. Her story appeared in movies, books, and whispers through Los Angeles' dark corners. Some said the killer was protected, too powerful, too connected to ever be caught. Then, decades later, a shocking twist reignited the case. In 1999, a retired LAPD detective named Steve Hodel, Dr. Hodel's own son, found old files and photos while going through his father's belongings. What he discovered made his blood run cold. There were pictures of a dark-haired woman who looked almost identical to Eli, Zabeth Short. And in his father's private journals, strange drawings and coded notes hinted at something sinister. Steve began to wonder if his father, the man who raised him, might have been the one who killed the Black Dahlia. He turned over the evidence to investigators, and soon the FBI reopened parts of the case. Old recordings, photographs, and maps began to make sense in chilling ways. Many believed the mystery was finally solved. But still, after decades, no one was officially charged. As Steve Hodel stood outside his father's old mansion, the same one where neighbors once heard screams in the night, he said quietly to a reporter, "I think the answers were here all along. We just didn't want to see them." The truth about the Black Dahlia seemed closer than ever, yet still just out of reach. And then, a hidden photo discovered in the back of a locked drawer changed everything. The photograph was small, an old black and white snapshot, its edges curling with age. When Steve Hodel found it tucked inside a dusty box of his father's belongings, he froze. The woman in the picture had dark curls, a soft smile, and the same haunting beauty that had made the world remember Elizabeth Short. The Black Dahlia. But it wasn't just her face that struck him. The room behind her, the furniture, the patterned wall, matched the inside of his father's old Hollywood mansion, the same mansion police had once bugged, where strange voices and unsettling laughter were recorded late at night. Steve stared at the photo for hours. Was this the proof he had been searching for? That Elizabeth had been inside his father's house before she died? He showed it to forensic experts. Some said the woman looked exactly like Elizabeth Short. Others disagreed. But deep inside, Steve couldn't shake the feeling that this photo connected everything. The mansion, the surgical precision, the missing evidence, and his father's dark charm. The more he uncovered, the more horrifying the puzzle became. His old letters, coded notes, and sketches found in his father's files hinted at an obsession with beauty, perfection, and death. Dr. George Hodel wasn't just a doctor. He was a man who believed he was untouchable. Steve retraced every step of his father's life. He discovered that in the same year Elizabeth was killed, Dr. Hodel suddenly closed his medical practice and left the country with his family. Police had suspected him for years, but each time they came close, powerful friends and hidden evidence stopped them. One retired detective admitted, "We had him, but someone high up told us to walk away." Decades later, standing outside that same mansion, Steve couldn't help but feel that his father's presence still lingered in its dark corners. The house, built in strange angles and secret passageways, seemed to breathe with secrets. He whispered, "You got away with it, didn't you?" But even with all his discoveries, the photographs, the audio recordings, the letters, there was never enough to make it official. The case of the Black Dahlia remained open. No arrests, no final answers, just a haunting silence that stretched across generations. Still, many investigators today quietly agree. If anyone had the skill, the access, and the darkness to commit the crime, it was George Hodel. And so, the story of the Black Dahlia comes to rest, not with justice, but with mystery. Elizabeth Short came to Hollywood chasing a dream. She wanted to be seen, to be remembered, and though her life ended in tragedy, the world never forgot her name. Every year, true crime followers, historians, and curious visitors walk down South Norton Avenue, where her body was found. They stop, look around, and wonder. The city has changed, but the shadows remain. Some say when the wind moves through the palm trees at night, you can still feel her story whisper through the streets. A warning, a mystery, a memory. Because even after all these years, one question refuses to die. What really happened to the Black Dahlia? And perhaps in Hollywood, where dreams and darkness live side by side, some mysteries were never meant to be solved. If you found this story chilling and want to uncover more real-life mysteries like the Black Dahlia, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, because every week we dive deeper into America's most haunting true crime stories and like. What do you think really happened to Elizabeth Short? Was Dr. Hodel the real killer? Or is the truth still hiding in Hollywood's shadows? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every one of them. And if you're ready for another shocking real event, stay tuned and click the next video. Because in this channel, the truth is always stronger than fiction.